It's that time of year where they have the annual Home Depot managers meeting in Las Vegas, and this year did not disappoint. I actually had somebody on the inside that was able to send me a few pictures. So there's some other pictures that have been floating around online. And let's just take a look at a little bit of what we have seen and what to expect in this year's Home Depot drop for Halloween. So it looks like the fan favorite 12-foot skeleton, Skelly, is back. And it looks like he's got some potential upgrades. The first thing that I noticed was that he has the LED light up kit that Home Depot sold last year, either already pre-installed or they were just kind of highlighting that they were going to sell this lighting kit again. Now, one thing that I did notice is in the back of some of these pictures, they've got what looks to be a row of the 12-foot skeleton skulls just there, and each one has their eyes a little different. This one here has, it looks like little star eyes. And this one here has like heart eyes. So they've got different types of eyes. And I don't know if this is something different or if this was just their way of highlighting the different eyes that these are going to have. So I don't know if that's going to be a separate prop or not. We'll find out soon enough. In addition to the 12-foot skeleton, they gave him man's best friend, which is a 5-foot tall, 7-foot long skeleton dog. Something that you can add to your giant collection. The next thing I noticed was a Frankenstein that looked like the original Universal Monsters Frankenstein. Apparently it is 7 foot tall and does some motions and has some phrases that it says that are characteristic of the Frankenstein. Pretty cool if you plan on doing like a Monster Mash type Halloween party. This thing looks fantastic. So then the one that jumped out to me and I liked the most was the Jack of Spades, which looks like he's a poker player or a card player. He's got a cigar in his hand. He looks like he's a lot of fun on a Friday night. Almost looks like one of the skeletons that they had last year that it was superposable, because this one, you can actually have him sitting or standing. This thing is also equipped with motion sensors and has some phrases that it speaks out. Honestly, this is gonna go perfect with my Dean, the bartender that I got a couple years ago. I think that those two just pair up very nicely. This is probably the number one thing that I'm aiming for this year, or at least it's up there. Then we've got the Knight Dallahan, which to me is kind of a crossover between the Headless Horseman and one of the superposable skeletons that are kind of decaying. If you look at it, the horse looks like it's kind of almost like corpsed or decaying a little bit. The skeleton looks like that, and he's holding his skull in his hand. So I think it's pretty cool. I know when they did the Headless Horseman a few years back, when they had the Headless Horseman riding a horse, was a huge hit. The Headless Horseman they did a few years later where it was just standing there with the pumpkin really wasn't that impressive in my opinion. So I'm actually pretty excited to see this back because I didn't get a chance to get that Headless Horseman a few years ago where he was on the horse. So I'm going to see if I can't get that one this year. And the cool thing is it's 9 foot tall. So it's a big guy and it lights up. It looks like his chest lights up per the pictures. Again, this is all stuff. I'm just going off of what I saw in a lot of these pictures. Then we've got what they're calling the Murderous Maple, which is a 10 foot tall, looks like tree that lights up, and from the sounds of it, you can light it to different colors. I'm not sure if it speaks any language or says anything. I was actually thinking about doing a haunted forest theme. I think that this thing would be perfect in that. So I'm definitely picking this thing up. So then for the pirate enthusiasts out there, we've got what I think they're calling Captain Cuts. He's got the typical sword and the hook for a hand. He says some phrases and he moves around a little bit. I think this guy, compared to the Captain Hook character that they had that was like a skeleton a couple years ago, I think this guy brings it to a whole new level. Then we've got another plague doctor, and I feel like this is getting a little overplayed now since the pandemic. This thing, it looks kind of cool, but it's not something that I'm really reaching for because I feel like it's a little overdone at this point. Then we've got this Reaper. I'm not sure how tall he is, but I'm assuming that he's going to be in the same ballpark as the Smoldering Reaper and Inferno Reaper and whatnot. I like this guy the best of the bunch because he kind of gives you that decayed, decrepit kind of look. He looks pretty awesome. Then we've got a new Scarecrow. It seems like we've had a different Scarecrow every year for the past few years, and they've been trying to get it right. The last couple of years, I feel like we're a little chintzy. I was not super impressed. This one looks kind of cool. It's got kind of a tall hat, and then it's got what looks to be a sickle in its hand. And, you know, I've only got a couple of views of this so far.
Your friends need to stop trespassing, or else this cold shot.
I'm excited to see what, you know, a little bit more on this one. So last year they went and they made the 12-foot skeleton into a miniature 3-foot skeleton. Looks like this year they're doing the same thing with the Inferno skeleton. I wasn't super impressed with the 3-footers last year. I bought one. It doesn't really do a whole lot. It's just kind of there. It's not something that I'm targeting this year, but it is there for those that really loved that Inferno skeleton and want to add to that part of their collection. Then we've got some, it looks like zombified skeletons. It's hard to tell from the pictures. I got a couple of pictures here. It's hard to really tell what is going on. If it's a half-size guy, if it's a full-size guy. I'm not really 100% sure, but I do like the look. I know they've had a different type of skeleton the past few years, and I think this might be that version. Maybe they start doing like a zombified skeleton or something like that. Then I came across a couple of pictures that had the new witch. Now, I'm not sure if she's gonna be as cool as Lily was last year, because that was the big one. Everybody loved Lily, and that was a difficult one to get your hands on. This one looks pretty cool too. She's got the green face. It looks like they're coming out with possibly a red cauldron, maybe to go with her. We'll see how that pairs up when I can actually see these in person. Last year they came out with the skull arch, which was awesome. That was one of my favorite things that I bought last year. Super easy to put together, and it was a hit. This year they're doing the same thing with the pumpkins. They made a pumpkin arch. And I'm just really hoping that they added some lighting to it, because the skull arch would have looked awesome if you were able to light it up from within. I'm hoping that they did that with the pumpkin arch. We'll see once we get the specs and once this all becomes public information. Right now, a lot of this is just speculation based off of the pictures that I saw. And then you can see we've got some of these weird, I don't know what they are. They look like rabbits. I don't know if it's like a Five Nights at Freddy's type thing, or if they're like serial killer rabbits, or somehow the Easter display ended up in Halloween. I don't know what happened here. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Lastly, one of the pictures that my friend sent me, I zoomed in and I found what most people have been talking about, because the one picture that was out on the web, you couldn't really see what was going on, and that's Nosferatu. I think that this guy is going to be the biggest hit of the year. This is going to be the one that everybody's trying to get. So hopefully I'll be able to get some of these when they first drop them here early on, when they do the online drop. And then I can do some setup and demonstration and show what these are for you guys, because I love Halloween just as much as y'all do. I hope you're all equally as excited as I am for Home Depot's drop this year, because I think that this is probably one of the best ones that they've done, at least in a long time. And I look forward to making more of these videos showcasing these animatronics and what they do. So with that said, stay spooky, my friends. I'll see you on the flip side.